seniors should not train like they're still juniors. Juniors should not be training like beer leaguers. Let's look at the difference today. I'm running my training camp this weekend, my Turning Pro training camp here in London. I want to show you what chaos my office is right now. So really quickly today, this will be a fast episode, but we're going to go over the difference between how you should train if you're a junior or minor hockey player or a college player, a pro player, and a beer leaguer. So as a junior, your number one goal is to really learn the patterns, learn how to lift with proper mechanics and proper movements, and to develop, I'll say, habit of excellence, the consistency of putting in the work day after day after day and working on the big things and the little things. Then your next job is, or one of your next jobs is to develop man strength or woman strength. But while you're developing that man strength, you have to keep in mind what you're training to perform better at your sport. So that means, yes, you have to get stronger. Some of you have to add muscle mass, most of you do, but you also need to have that functional strength and stability so that you can actually use those muscles when you're on the ice. Not everyone, but if we're looking at this spectrum of sort of a young player to a beer league player, you're at your most flexible, most of you, not all of you, when you're in this younger window, so in your junior minor hockey stages. And when I say minor hockey, I mean 14 and up. I'm not talking about little kids, so 14 and up. So you have that natural flexibility, and we really want to capitalize on that and be aware that, okay, well, that's a great flexibility, but without control in those end ranges, we can put ourselves at risk of injury, or we can't use that mobility to our biggest advantage. So we want to capitalize on that, but we also need to build that strength at length that I talk about all the time so that you have control in those outer ranges. As you get building that man strength, that strength and the stability, then the next job is to really teach yourself to contract your muscles explosively. Teach yourself. So I talk about speed as a skill. And so paying attention to learning those motor patterns, learning how to be explosive. And finally, you want to work on skills. So become skilled puck handler, skilled at catching, skilled at skating, really learning how to use your edges in all different ways. A lot of you want to do extra work in the gym when it's not necessary. I mean, you have to work hard in the gym and do your program and develop this consistency that we talked about, but just doing more in the gym for sake of working harder doesn't really get you a return. But working on your skills, putting in that extra time and effort working on your skills will pay huge dividends throughout your entire career. How many of you are junior players who are focusing on these areas right now? How many of you are beyond junior players but are like, I wish I had focused on those things when I was a junior? Let me know what you're doing. Let me know, or just in hindsight, maybe you made some mistakes. Share those in the comments below because it's great for everybody to learn.
He shows just how athletic he is on this play right here as that puck comes to Leighton Moore.
Now we're going to move on to pros and how pros should train. And I train goalies of all levels, and I love actually training goalies of all levels. It's not that I love mostest working with pro goalies. Pro goalies are interesting because they have a lot of the tools. Some of it is fine tuning, and a lot of it is just, hey, let's keep you healthy so that you can stay in the game. So if you're a young pro starting out, some of the guys I work with who are in the AHL trying to get to the NHL, some of them do still need to work on building that man strength and adding some muscle mass so that they have the building blocks to be not only powerful or explosive, but also a little bit more durable. So in addition to building strength, there's a pretty big emphasis on sort of prehab, injury prevention stuff. Not to say we ignore that in the younger goalies, but with younger goalies, they bounce more. So you can do a lot of things. I see some young goalies and young athletes in general who do just the craziest programs and like, but it worked. And it's like, you can do a lot with a younger goalie and it's going to work, even if it isn't sort of exactly the right thing to do. But as you get up higher levels into the pro leagues, then you can't do as much we'll do this just in case, and a little bit of that, and 6 sets of this, and you can't just add it all in. You need to make an emphasis on recovery, make sure they're recovering between sessions, make sure that they're staying healthy and durable. So I'm not saying pros shouldn't lift heavy, but they're probably going to do fewer sets, a little less volume, but high intensity. Because with them, we want to be getting their fast twitch muscle fibers, because as we get older, we slow down, our speed starts to drop, and as we get older, if you're a professional athlete, you need to try and keep that speed. You can't kind of be dropping a step here or there from season to season, and you see it every year that's just like, oh, they just can't quite keep up anymore. They're doing the right thing, but they're just a little bit too slow. And you're going to see a common theme because you can still work on your skills. So again, you can't train the way you used to when you were a junior player or college player. It's too much volume, it's too much wear and tear, but you can still work on skills. And don't forget to work on the skills that made you great in the first place. Sometimes goalies or skaters even, they forget about what made them great and they start trying to pick up a skill. Pops into mind is, Austin Matthews. It felt like when Austin Matthews came into the league, he could pick a puck out of his skates and still get a great shot away. And then you could tell, one off season that he worked a ton on a one-timer. Actually, I was at a training camp in Florida and he was there working on his one-timer. And so, he scored some goals in the one-timer, but it feels like he's not as good at sort of picking up a sloppy puck as he used to be and popping it in the net. So, focus on what made you great in the first place and then look to add the next best thing to your repertoire.
What a save.
And now we get to the beer league goalies. And with the beer league goalies, for a variety of reasons, we want to go with a more minimum dose. And, there's a difference between, because some of you are going to say, well, I love going to the gym and I work out for 2 hours a day, whatever. That's great. There's a difference between going to the gym because you love working out and training to be the best goalie that you can be. So when you're training to be the best goalie that you can be as a beer league goalie, as an adult goalie who has, maybe a family, a job, other obligations, we want to go in for the minimum dose of what's going to pay the biggest dividends on the ice with the least amount of wear and tear. So the workouts are going to be shorter. The sets are going to be probably in a similar range to what they are for the pros, maybe a little bit less depending on your schedule and just how busy you are with other things. But usually with a beer league goalie, if we're doing, it's just like, hey, I'm busy, I don't have a lot of time, we can get them in and out of the gym in about 45 minutes. Now, even though maybe we're doing fewer sets or we're having a little bit of a shorter workout, it doesn't mean that we're just going light. It doesn't mean that we're doing high repetitions. Oh, I'm over 40 or whatever, so I'm just going to do body weight, or I'm just going to do high repetitions with light weights. We actually still really need to get that fast twitch fiber working, and the way we do that is by lifting heavier. Not the way we used to when we were juniors, so we're not going to smash, all the 45s onto the hex bar and start ripping off some deadlift, but you do need to, still go heavy. So we use, rear foot elevated split squats, single leg squat to tap, those kinds of things, in a low rep range, 4 to 6 repetitions to still get those fast twitch fibers, because again, as we get older, we start to lose our speed. And part of the reason we lose our speed is because we start, thinking, oh, I should just train with high repetitions and light weights, which isn't the, if you're just starting out, don't start trying to go as heavy as you can. But if you sort of followed this progression, then don't forget to still go heavy sometimes. And for those of you like me who are north of 40, 50, you know that we lose our mobility as we get a bit older. And I really don't think it's so much just, because I'm 53, I'm not as flexible as I used to be. I think it's because I sit at a computer a lot of the day, because I don't, I'm not moving in different patterns the way I used to when I was younger. That's why I'm losing mobility. So mobility is going to be a huge emphasis for beer league goalies. And also still working on skill. Let's become more efficient and add a few little tools. You think of, if you're 40 or 50, it's like, wow, we didn't really play the butterfly when I was younger. So get better at that. Get better at puck handling. Watch hockey and see what the younger goalies are doing and try to pick up just 1 or 2 of those skills so that you have something new to bring to your team and to the game. Couple more points for beer league goalies: make it easy for yourself. So if getting to the gym is going to add 40 minutes or an hour to your workout by the time you drive there and get changed and come home and all that, then look at buying a set of resistance bands, maybe some adjustable dumbbells that you can have at home. Train at home so that it's easy. Don't add that extra barrier to your consistency, because at all these levels, consistency is the #1 key to success. And then finally, keep it simple. You'll realize that just by watching this video, by doing anything extra to sort of help your body perform on the ice, you're in the 10%. Don't compare yourself now, your beer league self, to your 17-year-old self. That's one of the things that I think people give up on, because they think, oh, when I was 17 or when I was 20, I used to be able to squat 225 and this and that, and now it's harder. So stay away from that game. Put your emphasis on consistency and on doing the right things that are going to translate onto the ice, not just going in the gym and trying to lift as heavy as you can because that's what you used to do. And I've got tons of videos for all these different age groups here on the YouTube channel, so you can search for some of those. If you're looking for a place to start that has some quick little workouts in there, that'd be pretty good actually for every zone, I would check out the video playlist called 10 Secret Habits of Pro Goalies. You can find that here. And it has little mini workouts for mobility, strength, speed, stamina, all of those things. So that would give you sort of some sample workouts that you can follow along and work your way through. If it's mobility that you need, then that's the Butterfly Challenge. It is free. You can find the link in the description below. And one thing I want you to keep in mind at all of these levels, it depends a bit too. What tools do you need? What do you need to build next? It's like we're building a house and we need to start with the foundation. So if you didn't build that foundation when you were a junior, then you're going to have to, sooner or later, you're going to have to build it, because otherwise the injury bug is going to keep coming and biting you. So just take it stage at a time. I know where you want to get to, but training like a pro when you're still a junior and you haven't taken these steps isn't going to take you to the promised land. In fact, I remember when I worked at the Fowler Kennedy Sport Medicine Clinic, the USA women's soccer team had just won their first World Cup, and we had a young soccer player who came in. She was probably 15 years old, and she was so excited because her coach had got a copy of the plyometric training program that those women had used, and she started the team doing it, every day at practice. And we literally saw an influx of these young athletes coming in with knee injuries. That girl actually went on and unfortunately tore her ACL. So you have to train for where you're at, not where you hope to be one day or plan to be one day. Take it one step at a time. Now is when I ask you to hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. If you've already subscribed, hit the bell. You know the drill. I will catch you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Make sure you drop a comment. Tell us what has really worked well for you, or what regrets maybe you have about the way you used to train, and share those experiences so everyone can learn. Love you guys.